All right, dude. So I'm going to give you the explanation of everything that I saw really on your swing on camera, on the voiceover that I spoke about, and I'll show you really visually what it looks like, and I'll explain you a little bit more in detail what we're going to work on, okay? So, like I mentioned really in the voiceover, really good swing, a lot of good fundamentals that are happening. You do your best to shell the club well, which I believe you actually do quite well and more than you think you do. But there are certain things or certain positions you've set yourself up in at the top of your backswing that are limiting your possibilities for what you're trying to accomplish. So essentially, because of the fact that your hands are so up here and not back there, right? So this is the difference in depth. This is no depth, this is depth. You can see I actually didn't really necessarily change the height of my hands. I'm just bringing them further back, right? So they're more behind my body. Because you are lacking in depth, okay? So because at the top of your backswing, you're up here. Well, you only have one option, and I'm going to explain to you why that is. If you want to play a draw or any sort of functional straight shot, okay? So when we're saying straight, you see the light switch behind me. Let's assume we're aiming at this light switch, okay? We're going to put the ball down. Well, if I'm aligned relatively near this light switch, okay, and I line myself up, and I want to hit this light switch, but if I have really high hands, well, if I rotate, we know that the hands are going to want to travel outwards as well, right? What a lot of people don't realize is rotation moves the hands out, right? So there's two extremes you can have. Rotation, hands are shooting straight out versus no rotation, right? Hands are shooting straight down. When you have some amount of rotation in transition, your hand path is going to want to move outwards. Well, if you're lacking in depth at the top and your hand path moves outwards, no matter what type of shaft you have, whether steep or shallow, because your hands are so over the ball, they only can go so far before they reach the peak of how far they can stretch, and so they start to travel inwards too quick in the downswing. If you were to rotate well, what's going to happen if I have no depth and my hands go out and now they're so far out that they have to start traveling inwards? How do I hit this golf ball from the inside right now? It's impossible. Even if my shaft is there, it's impossible. I would have to do this, install everything, right, to get there. Or else what's going to happen? I'm going to do that. So as soon as you're lacking in depth and your hand path moves out from adding rotation, even if you have a shallow shaft, your hands get too far out in front of you, you're toast. The other reaction I see from golfers who lack the depth is now they're going to pull down in an effort to try to swing from the inside and avoid scenario one that I just explained. No depth, pull down, now I'm toast, because now no matter what I do, right, I'm going to either have to stall everything to keep the club head behind me, or I'm just going to come in overly steep, and overly steep also means I can't rotate even if my hands are in, because that kicks the club head out, also known as over the top by some people, right? So those options are both very difficult. What the golfer would have to do is they would have to apply a vertical force to the hands if they didn't have the depth, while shallowing the shaft, while keeping it inside, while rotating. You see this with guys like Bubba Watson. You see this with guys like Justin Thomas. You cannot see this by 99.999% of golfers who aren't freak athletes. That's just the reality. So that position you're setting yourself up and up top is very difficult. And so what we're going to do, right, is we're going to get you, I'm just moving the ball so I'm a little more centered on camera now. What we're going to do is we're going to get your hand path traveling deeper. Now you see how deep I am at the top, right? Difference in how far behind my body my hands get. When you are deeper at the top, okay, all of a sudden now you can do what you want. You can shallow the shaft, right? You can get the hands to move outwards, because now look at where they are in front of my body. They're relatively in the center of my chest, like I said. Yours are out here. I'm going to try to get them there, but I'm not going to change your downswing to get there. I'm going to change your backswing here so that the natural travel of your hands are going to get there. Because your hand path on the downswing is good. It's a little steep, but it's not bad. It's just that they end up so far out in front of you because of where they are up there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get them flatter, right? So that now, when you're coming down, they're in a different spot, and all of a sudden, how much easier is it to swing from the inside? My hands aren't way out here like yours were over the golf ball, like I showed you, right? They're a little more in. Now all of a sudden, I could rotate functionally, right? See that? Without the fear of hands getting too far out in front of me where they have to come inward too quick. So getting that deeper position at the top is going to be vital for you, in my opinion, to change your club path, to be able to shallow the club, to be able to rotate. All these things that you're incapable of doing right now are happening because of the depth to the hands at the top of the swing, not far enough behind the body, and how that is affecting the rest of your downswing. So I hope that makes sense. I'm going to give you a nice little drill for you to work on right now. I'll film that for you. You're really going to like it, and it's going to help you out a ton, in my opinion, okay?